Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my August TBR. So in August, as y'all know, I'm going to be participating in the Romance Readathon. My good friend Tori also has a short readathon going on. I think it's like a weekend length fantasy romance themed read along at the end of August, and I'm really excited for that as well. So for both readathons, I'm going to have all the information down in the description. And for the Romance Readathon, I am co-hosting the Wallflower team. So if you don't know anything about that, go ahead and check out the information down below and you can join us on Discord. This is a month-long readathon where you can read anything you want, but you do get extra points for romance books and for reading historical romance. Specifically, you get even more points, not to mention getting extra points for reading LGBTQIA+ authors plus BIPOC authors. It is a competition-based readathon, so me heading up the team Wallflowers, I want to make sure we get the best match possible. This is Bridgerton themed, so you are trying to get matched up basically with the man or woman of your dreams, because there is also a sapphic storyline. So like I said, if you don't know anything about that, check out the information down below. The Wallflower team is the best team, obviously. So if you are new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, I would love to have you subscribe. Go ahead and comment down below and let me know what team are you on for the Romance Readathon, or what you are planning to read for your August TBR. What are you most looking forward to? I would love to hear you. Before I get into this video, I do want to let you know that this is a collaboration with a large amount of booktubers. All of the information for this collaboration is down below in the description, so you can check out everyone else's TBRs. There's going to be a really long list of basically a whole lot of TBRs for you to check out. So if you're excited for this readathon and want to watch a playlist and see what everyone else is reading and try to form your TBR from that, go ahead and check out the list. Definitely in that list is going to be all of the co-hosts for this readathon who are posting their TBRs, as well as Autumn's channel, because she was the creator of this collaboration. So yeah, check out the list, watch everyone else's TBR videos. This is the last month of summer, and it's definitely a month where I start really just dying for fall to start. So I've got a mix of things here. I have fantasy, I have historical romance, I have fantasy romance, and I have some like Gothic spooky stuff too. I even have a horror book on here. So let's just get to this TBR. It is tentative because I've really been allowing myself to mood read recently. So just keep that in mind. This is sensitive, but at least I would say like half of these books are pretty set in stone, because a lot of them involve read-alongs or buddy reads. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start with my required reading. So these are books where like I am leading a buddy read or leading a book club for these. So the first one is going to be To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah Parker, and this is a fantasy romance. I believe that it is a Rapunzel retelling or a Rapunzel reimagining, and yeah, like I said, it's fantasy romance, and I'm very excited to read it. I've heard really good things about it from Just from Honest Fiction, and this is actually going to be the first ever Spelled by Romance book club pick. So this is our book club pick for August. We are going to have a live show. I believe it is the second weekend in August, so the information is going to be down below for that, as well as the link to the Discord, so you can join the Spelled by Romance thread on that Discord if you want to participate. Otherwise, you can just sprint with us, start the book with us when we start it in August. And yeah, we're going to have all the spoilery discussions in the Discord, so if you just want to sprint with us but not read the book, you're welcome to do that as well. But yeah, I'm going to be reading that in August for sure. My next required read, let's see, this is nice because I can actually check out my handy dandy TBR. Now that I've gotten into junk journaling, so I was like pressured into this by Maggie. She keeps telling me I need to share this with you guys. So this is my the Romance Readathon junk journal I'm working on. I've tried like normal journaling or scheduling before and it doesn't work. I am way too,
let me put this delicately,
sporadic minded, and I'm very artsy and crafty. So I thought junk journaling would be fun because I have actually technically junk journaled before. So this is the Romance Readathon Junk Journal, and I'm just starting it, so I still have a lot of work to do. It's a work in progress. But if you look on the first page here, you can flip, and I do have my TBR right here. So anyway, I had forgotten which book we were on in the Mate Games read along that Maggie is doing, and we're also doing that on our Discord, The Hideaway, link down below. But we're going to be reading the final book in the Mate Games series at the very beginning of August, and that is Temptation. That's by Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann, and we've been having a blast with this read along. It's been so much fun to read this book live with a bunch of lovely friends of mine and everyone on our Discord. It's just been a really good time. So yeah, let me know down below. Are you interested in some like flip throughs of this? Because I think I'm going to be basically doing a page a book throughout the month. So let me know if you are interested in that. I also might be reading Captive of the Horde King by Zoe Draven. The reason I say might be reading is this is the official Discord buddy read for The Hideaway. So we also are doing like a series buddy read of a series like ongoing just on the Hideaway Discord. No live shows, nothing like that. It's just, hey, let's buddy read some books together. And everyone voted to read the Horde Kings of Jakar series, and I'm very, very, very excited for it. The only reason I say might is because I literally just read this a couple of months ago and I adored it. I give it 5 stars and I'd love to reread it, but I don't have to reread it because I can easily participate in the discussions about this book. It's really fresh in my mind still. So that's why I say might. I'd like to, but if I don't get to it, I don't have to. And then I will definitely be reading along with the Discord for the rest of the series. I think there's 6 books in the series. The next books are buddy reads, but they're not like required buddy reads, because if I don't read them, like I'm not leading the discussions on these. These are me trying to buddy read with a group of people or trying to buddy read for someone else's book club. So let's get into these. So the first one is Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. This is actually going to be the first book for my good friend Tori's new fantasy romance book club, and I'm so excited for that. That is actually on an app that I've never used before. I just started using it. It's called Fable. And all of the information for her new book club, it's called the Who Did This To You book club. All the information for that is down below in the description too. They are going to be reading Fear the Flame, and I've heard really good things about this from the Raven-haired reader, Rachel, and she's talked about this a lot and how great this book is, and I'm very interested in it. It's a fantasy romance book. I also really love the cover, so that is definitely something that I'm interested in reading. I do not know anything about this book. I think there might be dragons, so that'd be cool. Okay, I also then have, for another fantasy romance, I have Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is a fantasy romance, but it's also like a cozy fantasy. You'll see it in a lot of people's cozy fantasy recommendations videos, because this is like a Regency Fae romance fantasy, romantasy of sorts. So mixing Regency with fairies, and I want to read it because now there's a bunch of Regency fairy books I really am interested in, and I feel like this is kind of now the OG of this new trend. I believe there is a neurodivergent main character. The heroine, I believe, is on the autism spectrum, and I think that this is going to be fun. We're going to be buddy reading this on the Romance Readathon Discord, and so that's really one of the reasons I want to read it in August, is I want to be able to participate in that buddy read. This is less than 300 pages, so I don't think it'll be that difficult to accomplish. So the next 3 books that are for buddy reads are all historical romance. So the first one is Sky OMalley by Beatrice Small. This is a medieval historical romance that is going to be read for the Historical Hellions book club. I'll have their Instagram linked down below if you're interested in checking them out. And I don't know much about this other than it is a medieval historical romance. I just hauled this. I got it on Etsy because I really want to participate in that book club. And I also love that it's a wraparound. And it's just beautiful. I love the colors on this cover too. I feel like it really represents August well. Like the colors really remind me of late summer when you're just on the brink of fall. Next, I have The Perks of Loving a Wallflower. This was gifted to me by Kristen from Kristen Craze Books, and I thank you so much for that, Kristen. This is a sapphic Regency romance. One of the heroines is a wallflower and the other is a blue stocking, so this would be really fun for basically anyone on either the wallflower team or the blue stocking team to read. You would get LGBTQIA+ author points, historical romance points, and so yeah, you get a lot of points for this one. I don't know much else about this other than I have heard that it's very good. That is a buddy read on the Romance Readathon Discord too. Finally, I'm not sure if this is an official buddy read on the Discord yet, but I know I talked to a few different people about reading this book in August as a buddy read. So I have to check if there's a thread made yet, otherwise I'll make one. But this is Shanna by Kathleen Woodowis. This is I think this is kind of touted as basically the first or one of the first historical romances. I know that there are some problematic elements with the romance from what I know, and this is set in the Caribbean. So I think this is like a true bodice ripper, if you catch my drift. Definitely check out reviews if you're worried about triggers. Okay, so switching to fantasy and horror, let's talk about some of those books and then we'll go back to historical romance. So the first book that I'm interested in reading in August is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Yes, this is not the first time you have seen this on one of my TBRs. No, I have not read it yet. And no, I'm not taking any questions. So this is by the author of The Night Circus, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and I really want to read it. I think this is going to give me cozy vibes. I think this is going to be beautifully written and ethereal and gorgeous and beautiful and amazing, and I really hope I love it. Some people say this book is a bit confusing and kind of like pointless, doesn't get to the point, and basically is no plot, just vibes. But I love books that are no plot, just vibes. I love books that are beautifully written. I loved The Night Circus, so I hope I love this one. And I think it'll be good because I think there might be a little bit of a romance in here, but I'm not sure. But in general, I thought it might be nice to just have a fantasy like on my TBR to pick up. I think in general the themes of that book are like stories within stories, but from what I know, the plot or synopsis doesn't really matter because it's kind of plotless. I have a horror here, and it's a Gothic horror, and this is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I really wanted to read this last year, but I didn't get to it. It's super short. It's Gothic. I believe this is an Edgar Allan Poe retelling of the Fall of the House of Ushers. I have never read that original book before, but I'm very interested in this. I love T. Kingfisher. I own 2 of her horrors, but haven't read any of them yet. And I'm forcing myself, well, now I'm on a book buying ban, but I stopped myself from buying her new Southern Gothic horror because I was like, listen, Hannah, you own 2 of her horror books and you have not read them yet. So why don't you try to pick up at least one of those before you buy another horror book by T. Kingfisher? And I was like, okay, you know, fine.
I'll do it, but I won't like it.
I should probably read this. I'm trying to read basically as many of my physical books as possible because if you guys didn't already watch my recent video, in my part 3 of my birthday book haul, I talk about my new book buying banathon. So if you're interested in like playing along with me, check that out. Or if you just want to know what I'm talking about, what I'm doing, check that video out. Next, I have another cozy fantasy romantasy, and this is The Secret Society of Irregular Witches, or I'm sorry, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. And this will get you like romance points and BIPOC points, and it looks really, really good. I want to start reading more witchy books again. It's getting into the season. I love witchy books. I always have, and I've had this on my shelf, and I want to get to it. I think that some people kind of tout this as a cross between Practical Magic and The House in the Cerulean Sea. Practical Magic being one of my favorite movies, House in the Cerulean Sea being a book that I really enjoyed. It's not one of my favorite books of all time, but I really enjoyed it, and I love cozy fantasy / cozy romantasy. And because I loved books like Sword Heart and Emily Wilde and those kind of cozy romantasy vibes, and I love witchy books, I really think this is going to be a winner for me. Okay, and now I have a book here that probably most of you have read, but I have not, and that is Sarah J. Maas's Heir of Fire. I need to continue on with my reading of this series. I've read the first Sorry if the camera just changed. I dropped my book. Okay, it is fine, as you guys can see. But yeah, this is the third book in the Throne of Glass series. I've read the first two. I tried to read the prequel novella bind-up and I just couldn't get through it. And I'm not even going to force myself. So I'm just going to continue on in the series and not worry about it. And no, I am not taking comments on that. I understand if you think that that's a bad decision, but that is what I'm doing.
If you've made up your mind.
So this is the third book in the series. This is about our heroine, Selena Sardathian, who is an assassin and supposed to be like the most badass assassin ever. This is a YA fantasy series with a romance subplot that I haven't even gotten to yet. It's supposed to be like a badass female heroine doing badass things. I gave the first two books 4 stars, but I knew I wasn't going to be a huge fan of them. Most people say, especially if you're an adult and you don't read a lot of YA, you're probably not going to be super into the first 2 books, but it really starts to kick off, especially for adults, and becomes more of an older age range type of book, starting with the 3rd and 4th book and moving on in the series. So I hope I really like this book. Okay, let's get back to some historicals. The first historical I have here is Lisa Kleypas's It Happened One Autumn. This is the 2nd book in the Wallflower series. I adored the prequel book to this series, Again the Magic. It's probably my favorite historical romance of all time. I also gave 5 stars to the first book in this series, It Happened One Summer. Is that what it's called? No. Secrets of a Summer Night. And I adored that book as well. So I have very high hopes for this book. I do hear there is a problematic scene in this book. I'm not sure. I'm so sad I don't have the step back version. This is a fake step back, so one day I will. Next, I have a Gentle Feuding by Joanna Lindsay. This is a Highlander romance, and it's a standalone, and I don't know if this is like a marriage of convenience, but it looks like it's a hate to love situation. And this, I believe, is probably going to be a very old school bodice ripper. It's one of her earlier works, and this is my favorite cover of all time by Joanna Lindsay, and it wraps. And it's just 100% beautiful. It says, clan hatred fired their blood, yet in their hearts burned the wild and tender flames of desire. That just is like, quintessential bodice ripper type of language, and I'm beyond excited. Okay, and next I have Elizabeth Hoyt's Wicked Intentions. This is supposed to be like a Batman trope, which is like a rich lord playing hero in the ton and doing like hero type deeds like Batman. The step back for this is beautiful. From what I know about this series, it's the Maiden Lane series. It's a fairly long series, but apparently it's kind of like darker themes, almost a noir historical romance, and similar to someone like a Kerrigan Byrne. So I think there might be some darker themes in here, or maybe some trigger warnings. So, but yeah. I'm excited to start this series. Okay, 3 more books here. I did talk about these books recently in my book haul. But the first one is Heather Graham's Golden Surrender, the first book in her Viking series. This one is about Prince Olaf. So we have a Prince Olaf of Norway, and Princess Erin, who is the daughter of the Irish king. So we have someone from Norway and someone from Ireland. She is an ebony-haired beauty who swore bitter vengeance on the legendary Norseman who had brought death and destruction to her beloved homeland. Okay, so yeah, basically he's the invader and they get married. I'm guessing, yeah, it's an arranged marriage situation, so for an alliance, yeah. Ooh, I think this is going to be good. Another hate to love and a classic, probably bodice ripper. And then next I have a book that I was like, I have to read one of these for this readathon, because this is the 3rd book in the Bridgerton series, Julie Quinn's An Offer from a Gentleman. I just figured I have to read some Bridgerton during this Bridgerton themed readathon, right? So I've read the first 2. This is the next one in the series. This one is about Benedict. Okay, so this is Benedict's story, and I don't know anything else about it. I'm excited though, because I love the Bridgertons. I've really enjoyed every single book in the series. not like, oh, every single, like it's a whole bunch. I liked the first 2 books in this series a lot, so I'm looking forward to continuing. And finally, I have a Gothic romance, and it's Victoria Holtz. On the Night of the Seventh Moon. I started this book via audio from Anyplay, and I realized that I wanted to buy it. So I went ahead and I got a copy. The cover is gorgeous. The synopsis says, Helena Trant has always felt a special fascination with the myths and legends of southern Germany. I think this takes place near the Black Forest, but I'm not sure. But most of my ancestors, at least a lot of them, I did the whole like Ancestry.com thing, and a very large majority are actually from Bavaria by the Black Forest, so I thought this would be fun. Lost in the forest one day, she feels a little surprised when a handsome stranger appears and leads her to safety. I read that part. It is like, there's this like super deep, thick mist, and it basically gives you immediate Gothic feels. There's a Prince Charming in all good fairy stories, but this idol suddenly becomes a nightmare. The passionate love that grows between Helena and her rescuer seems destined to inspire hatred, treachery, and even murder in others. And as Helena draws near to the source of the evil that pursues them, she begins to feel that there will be no happy ending to her story. So a girl that's obsessed with fairy tales and a real life fairy tale that maybe isn't going quite as planned. So this is a Gothic romantic suspense book, and I am just so here for it. Okay, so that's it. That is my TBR. Now, as a reminder, this is a collaboration, so make sure to check out everyone else's TBRs down in the description. I'll have all the information for basically all the readathons, all the buddy reads, everything that I've talked about down below, along with the Romance Readathon Discord, the Hideaway Discord link as well as my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter. Make sure to click the like button. It really helps my channel grow. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you're looking forward to reading in August. Let me know what team you are on for the readathon if you are participating. If you haven't already subscribed, I would love for you to do so. Go ahead and click the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post new videos. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Look away, but I've known you too long. It hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.